When I first started making videos about 3D printed houses, I was pretty amazed by them. I thought that they were super cool, more durable, and would save a little bit on cost when building. I made a video about this 3D printed house community in Austin, Texas, and to me, they did seem affordable, but that's because I live in LA, and $500,000 would be affordable for a house in LA, but in Austin, it really isn't any cheaper. And so I got a flood of comments about how shocked people were that these 3D printed houses were not less expensive since they were automated. My LA brain thought they were affordable, but for 40 minutes outside of Austin, they really weren't any cheaper than the other houses in the area. In fact, this house in the same town is $80,000 cheaper than the 3D printed options, and it's about 500 square feet larger, and it's just a traditional stick-built house. There's a few important reasons that 3D printed houses are not less expensive than regular houses, but why I do think we should still pursue building them. Let's get into it. By the way, if you enjoy my videos, I do deep dives on tech, business, personal finance. Subscribe to this channel. I hate asking. I think it's really corny to ask, but I have noticed that when you ask, the videos tend to do better. I gotta ask, if you enjoy, hit subscribe. We got that out of the way. Let's get into it. So the first reason 3D printed houses are not more affordable than regular houses is because they really only automate a couple steps of the building process. When people hear the idea of a 3D printed house, they think that the whole thing is printed, like with the plumbing and the electrical and the cabinets and everything. The home building has many steps. Framing and drywall, that's pretty much the only thing that 3D printing is able to replace at this point. And framing, while it does seem like a large part of the process, actually takes like less than a week. I'm building a house in Joshua Tree, and it's pretty crazy how quickly they can just throw the framing together. It looks like this large part of the build, but in the grand scheme of things, framing and drywall are only maybe like 10 to 20% max of the build cost. We're really only gonna save on 10 or 20% of the build. This is the thing that people forget, is that homes have a lot more to them than just the walls. It is electrical, it's plumbing, it's the cabinets, it's all of the fixtures, it's the HVAC system, it's the permits, it's the land, and then there's even the cost to connect to the electrical grid or the sewer system. All of these things are not discounted by 3D printing a house. And that is really kind of the biggest thing that people forget, is like, you're not 3D printing a finished house, you're 3D printing a shell of a house. And when it comes to framing, we're really only saving on the labor. There's still a lot of materials that you have to buy. For my labor costs for the Joshua Tree house framing, it is $44,000. So yeah, you might be able to save on $44,000, but that's really not that much in the grand scheme of a house build. The labor cost for framing is only about 5% of a total build cost. And that labor cost is replaced with something else, which is reason number 2, new technology fees. This is a term that I kind of just made up, but there is this really hefty fee anytime there is a new technology and you're the first person to use it. Think about computers back in the day. It used to take up an entire room. The only people that had computers were universities. Very few people had access to them. First, if any technology is going to be like 10x the price of what it eventually is when most consumers are able to use it. And so right now, 3D printing houses is in the stage where there's really only a few companies that are able to do it. They've spent millions of dollars developing the technology, and it's just not gotten to the point where computers are, where the everyday person is able to use them and buy them affordably. When you look at Icon's giant 3D printer, for example, you know that thing has got to cost tens of thousands, maybe $100,000 to create just from the parts. But even more than that is the years they've spent paying engineers to develop the system. And Icon's got to make their money back, so it's not going to be affordable yet. So eventually the technology may get to the point where the everyday person is able to, borrow a giant 3D printer and print the shell of a house. But right now, because there's very limited access to it and because they're very expensive to develop, it's very expensive to use them. The third reason these 3D printed houses are not more affordable than regular houses is kind of a boring reason, but it's because land is the majority of the cost of a lot of homes. And 3D printing a house does not change the cost of the land. When you see a home for sale in Los Angeles that costs $2 million, but it's kind of dumpy, like it's not very nice, that's because it is the land itself that holds most of that value. Sometimes the home itself may only be worth $200,000 or $300,000. So a developer will buy a plot of land for $2 million just to knock the house down. Now, what you build after that is not going to change the cost of the land. And so when it comes to building more affordable housing, it's really not about 3D printing them, but rather building different styles of houses. It's more affordable to build a little bit more densely. For example, in Seattle, they build a lot of these 2-story detached ADUs. They're kind of like townhouses, but they don't share any walls. And these are more affordable because it's half as much land as the typical single family house in the area. So it's actually reducing the most expensive factor, the land, by quite a bit. But these houses still live like a house. They have a lot of windows, they have a small yard space. They're really great for a single person, couples, or small families. And the reason it's more affordable is because you're divvying up that land, which is the thing that holds the value. If we're 3D printing houses, but we're just printing them on pretty large lots of land in areas that are supply constrained, they aren't going to be affordable. And this is a thing that a lot of people kind of forget to address when it comes to the housing crisis, and it is that it's the land that's expensive. These would just be more affordable if they were 2 stories on smaller plots of land, and this is a solution that people don't want to hear because everybody wants a single family house, not really a townhouse. And Icon actually has made some 3D printed houses that are 2 stories. But my point is, it doesn't matter how cheap it is to build the house, how automated it is, if the land is unaffordable. There is affordable housing in the US, it's just not really in places that are that desirable. And so if what you are seeking is affordable housing, it's not that you necessarily need a 3D printed house. You just need to go out a couple hours into the suburb. If you go 2 hours outside of any major city, you'll find home prices are a third of what they are inside that city. Take LA, there are homes that are for sale here for $1 million. 2 hours outside, they're like 300,000 or 400,000. This is 70 miles outside of Los Angeles. There's plenty of homes in the $400,000 to $500,000 range. And that's because the land is way cheaper here. Again, this is not really the solution that anybody wants. Everyone wants a single family house in the heart of Santa Monica or Beverly Hills, but this is the reality of it. All of this to say that just because you're 3D printing a house doesn't really change the cost that much, because it's the land a lot of the times that is the most expensive part. And the fourth reason that these houses are not cheaper is because they are built right now by for-profit companies. The only people that really have access to this technology right now are big home developers who are able to 3D print hundreds of homes at a time. And any costs that they are saving, they're not really passing on to you. For example, this community in Austin is built by Lennar, which is a publicly traded company. They're not some nonprofit, trying to make housing affordable. They're trying to make a profit. That's their goal for their shareholders. Now, Icon, the company behind the actual 3D printing technology, does seem like it's more on a mission to make housing affordable. But at the moment, they're in the earlier stages. They've got to partner with big home builders to really get this thing off the ground. They're a for-profit company, they're a business, and they are just keeping a little more profit. And the thing is, we don't even really know if Lennar is saving any money. It might actually cost them more money to make these 3D printed houses, but it's more of an experiment to them to see if at scale it would eventually be cheaper. They're kind of taking a risk here. No, they probably are saving money though. They probably actually are saving a lot. If you yourself could just borrow that 3D printer and use it building a house on your own plot of land, all those savings that you would have from not having to hire a big crew to frame the house and put up the drywall, you would keep. But because it's a big developer, they are keeping that savings. They're not really passing it on to you. Who knows though? Eventually, maybe you can borrow that printer and print something. Just because it is this way right now doesn't mean that's how it always will be. Eventually, I would imagine there will be companies that will let you license the printer or borrow it for a fee. So despite all of this, despite the fact that it's really not cheaper to build a 3D printed concrete house, I do think it's still a concept that's worth pursuing for a few reasons. Really, the main one is that they are more durable. They are more waterproof, fireproof, earthquake-proof, hurricane-proof. We have seen a lot of natural disasters in the last 10 years, from fires to hurricanes. There's a lot of areas that need to be rebuilt and that probably should be thinking about something more durable than the normal wooden drywall house. I really think that's the main benefit of these 3D printed concrete houses, because even if they do end up costing the same amount as a regular house, in certain areas, these are a much better choice. Your home insurance would be a lot lower if it is more durable and fireproof and waterproof and everything. But two, it's just a more solid, better built house. They're also insulated better. It's basically 2 layers of concrete and insulation. So in hot climates like Texas in the summer, these are way more energy efficient. And maybe one day they will be more affordable. I really do think with time, as the technology becomes more widespread, it will be more affordable. But then it also brings into question AI taking our jobs. And I know there's going to be a lot of comments about that, AI coming for physical jobs too. And you see all all these crazy robots and stuff, and it's like, maybe they won't even be 3D printed, but houses will just be built the same old-fashioned way, but by robots. I don't know, guys. It's getting crazy. But that really is why 3D printed houses are not gonna be more affordable than regular houses, at least not anytime soon. So I hope this gave you some more insight into this. I know I've just seen a lot of people have a hard time wrapping their mind around this when I've posted videos about it, but it actually, you know, kind of makes sense that they're not more affordable yet. It's a bummer that they're not more affordable. I wish I could go make a video of a house that's just fully 3D printed, ready to go, that costs $100,000. That would be really cool. By the way, if you guys are into real estate content, I have actually a whole other real estate channel. It's all about LA real estate. I'm a real estate agent here in LA, so you know, if you're looking to buy or sell, I'll have my contact info down below. If you're interested just in real estate in LA in general and the neighborhoods, if you're ever thinking of moving there, put together quite a few neighborhood tours at this point. And actually a lot of people like watching them, even if they're not thinking of moving. Like if you're just thinking of visiting LA, I feel like I have got the good inside scoop on some underrated neighborhoods. So I'll have that channel link below if you want to go check it out. Hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.